Hello, and welcome to Due Diligence Investor. Today we're going back to the part of the show called Matthew's Unsolicited Opinions, where I just give advice about things I wish people had explained to me in very simple terms about life and investing principles in general. And I'd like to convey them onto you. Now, yesterday I did 5 things to avoid poverty. The only real 5 rules that you need to avoid doing to set yourself apart from the crowd. They are very common fallacies people mistake in their life histories, and you don't need to make them. So if you're just able to not do those 5 things, allow enough time to pass, you will do fine. But today we're going to do something which is actually proactive. 9 rules to unavoidable wealth. So if you follow these, you can't not become rich. It simply doesn't happen. If you avoid these struggles and you do these things, you will become wealthy with enough time added in. And on that happy and very positive note, let's jump right in. Starting off with number 1. Don't spend money until it is in your bank account. People's promises are worthless, but their dollars have value. So I worked in marketing and I worked in sales for a long time. People are very, very quick to soft close. People are very, very quick to say what they will need to say in order to make a contract go through. Until that contract has been signed on the double dotted line and I have been paid for it, I do not consider it actually money coming in, and I won't spend those dollars. This is something that a lot of my contemporaries did. They would count all of their contracts and all of their future income as money that they could spend. A lot of them did not do well for themselves. A lot of them are still in that exact same position, still going around in circles. They never learned, they never broke the cycle. But you can. Yeah, money must be securely in my bank account before I update any of my numbers. So I keep my net worth and everything in a separate Excel sheet, which I update myself and I keep track of. It's really the best way of doing it for myself. I will not update my numbers until dollars are deposited safely inside of my bank account. Now, as for future payments and dividends, these are a very helpful measure of where you're going in the future, of what your budget can be, of what your lifestyle can be. However, it is just a projection tool. It is not something to actually spend those current dollars until they have been deposited into your brokerage. That's my personal opinion on that, but I'm right. And if you really think about it, I think you will agree that I'm right as well. Never spend tomorrow's money. A little bit of patience will carry you very, very far. Okay, the ideal income split, that's 40%. Let me explain what I mean by this. So, ideally, you want to get to a place or either work yourself to a position, accept different jobs. There's a variety of ways of either increasing your income or lowering your expenses where you can make this work. So if we have 100% of our income, 40%, we're going to set that aside to taxes. Pay to Caesar what is Caesar's. This is necessary for the Canadian Revenue Agency, or I guess the IRS for all of my American friends. It is a necessary evil of doing business inside of these countries, and I pay it, not gladly, but I do so on time, and I'm happy to operate inside the territories and with the opportunities that come with them. I'm actually very grateful to the Canadian government and to the, American stock market, really, for its leniency as well as for its really strict meritocracy-based rewards. So there. Now we got 40% of your income, boom, that's pushed aside to taxes right off the bat. We don't even look at that. 40%, we're going to invest this. Now, how do you invest your money? Well, there's a variety of ways to invest your money. You can either do that into your own personal entrepreneurship business. You can do that into assets, or you should be buying equities. But 40% of your income should be going in and feeding the monster, which is going to allow you to live and provide for a better future for yourself and your cash flow. And 20% should be your living expenses. Eventually, I'm going to get into how a proper cash flow cycle should work and break that down. But 20% living expenses is a very doable and not necessarily fun way to live for several years. However, there's ways of getting it accomplished, and it will set you up exceedingly well for the rest of your days. It's a choice that people have to make for themselves. There is no right answer. But if you want to get ahead and if you want to have unavoidable wealth, this is what you do. If you cheat on your money or your future, it's going to cheat on you. If you nurture your future, if you nurture your money, if you nurture your investments, if you nurture your own skills and your own understanding of the world, you cannot help but to succeed. Constant growth in unexpected ways. This is something that I'll also have to get into at some point, but as my net worth has grown and as my income has grown, I have begun thinking in much larger opportunity vehicles. I've become a much more calmer person, and I've discovered ways of both generating income and keeping the income that I have at the end of the year in ways I didn't even expect. I didn't even know like 2 months ago. I promise you, before Halloween of last year, I've almost half a dozen, at least 4 different ways I found out how to either generate more income or keep more dollars at the end of the year. These systems are absolutely out there. It just takes some more omnidimensional thinking. All right, number 3, rent and lease, don't own. So you're not wrong for having the desire for a beautiful and affluent lifestyle. It's very human, it's very natural, and it is very inspirational to us all to want to strive for greatness, for betterment, for an aggrandization of ourselves. Choosing not to act on these impulses immediately will reveal how strong these desires are, whether they are persistent. If it's something which is there for on a significant amount of time, well, then it's probably a true desire. Maybe it was just passing. Maybe it was just a fleeting moment. However, either way, you're not wrong for having those desires. It is very natural and important to have them, but not to act on them, not to be a slave to your emotions. Emotions are a wonderful thing to have, but emotions are a wonderful slave to own and a horrible master. Besides, you don't need to own any of this stuff to use it. Whatever toys you want to use, cars, houses, boats, planes. I see this all the time where particularly young men who want to experience driving fast cars just won't go out and rent a fast car for a day or two and take it to a track. You can get the experience out of using it, then you can get a brand new one online. There's no reason for you to buy it when you can lease and rent it and get the exact same experience out of it, and then move on your way. Rent, use, enjoy, move on with your life. There will always be a new toy around the corner. I assure you, somebody will always be trying to sell you something. All right. Stabilize and grow your first income source before building more. So this is something that I see a lot of people doing all the time who are mostly directionless and who lack a specialization. So it is much better to specialize in a single field and not stray. Double down on your abilities. Whatever you are the expert at, you are the expert at. You are the master, you are the consultant. Don't be afraid to charge for your time. This is the quickest and most assured path to wealth. It is the specialization in a correct field. It is not the diversification of your skills and abilities. Diversification is more of a protection strategy, or as a wealth building strategy. And in the society and age that we live in, specializing your talents extremely, extremely nichely will carry you much further. So whatever you are, it's better to be the best at, either number 1 or number 2 in the world or in your market, than it is to be number 4 and in anything. This applies straight across the board. Now, on that note, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. I think a lot of younger men, again, I'm ragging on you a lot today, I suppose, but this is I am very familiar with their line of thinking. Entrepreneurship is a word that gets thrown around all the time. People know a lot of these guys really want to do that. They want to see themselves as that, but it is not for everyone. If you find a good employer who's treating you well, who pays you well, I think you should work your butt off for them. I think you should stay there. I think you should grow within that organization. I should think you should extract as much money as you can from it in a shorter period of time. You should invest that intelligently, and that you should hit your retirement age at a very young, or a retirement number at a very young age, have your fuck you money, and enjoy life. There's nothing wrong with devoting 10, 12 years of your life to another organization, investing extremely well, and then enjoying the rest of your existence and focusing on a larger, much more fulfilling activities. Always strive to be the best version of yourself, and that does mean specialization. All right. Number 5, the 47 rule. Speaking of specialization and of skill sets, the 47 rule. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're willing to work 40 hours per week for somebody else in order to make somebody else's dreams come true, to me, it is ludicrous that you would not be willing to work 1 hour per day on yourself, for yourself, to make your own dreams come true. I worked with so many men who, would go out and grind 8, 10, 12. They would brag about how many hours per day that they would work, but they would just be going around in circles. They would just be grinding. Whereas if you invest in yourself, in your own skill set, in your own abilities, even if that is for 1 hour per day, then you cannot help but see effects over a long period of time. Now, there's multiple ways that you can do this. I mean, if you don't know where to start doing push-ups. I'm dead freaking serious. The very act of improving yourself, improving your body, improving your mind, starting to read new materials, listening to things like this, which are more mind expanding, are essential and are nourishing for the soul. I personally take a bit of time every day and I write down my overarching goals about where I'm going in 30 years from now, about where I want to, how I want my life to play out. Then I'll tell myself stories about myself. I'm not really into affirmations. I've never really been a fan of affirmations, but I'll tell myself stories about things that have happened in the past, about that were extremely beneficial, about how well I performed in them. And it is a reinforcement of the evidence that has already happened, that I am the expert and that I know what is going to happen in the future. I know how to act when placed in these situations in the future. Extremely, extremely liberating and revealing to yourself of yourself. In the bottom section of that, I'll write down what I'm going to do today. I always have my goals for the day, things to accomplish, things to get done, tasks to accomplish, things that I can check off as my final part so that I can make my life better and stack forward. It's just what I am. And I think that you'll find you begin improving your life in very small ways, 1%, 2%, a day, a week, what have you. If you do that for 5 years, you become unstoppable. Candidly, 3 years ago, I was completely broke. Nobody wanted to be my friend. Nobody would even talk to me. Now, nobody wants to stop being my friend. You really begin to stand out bound to make a difference when you treat yourself as the most important asset in the universe and you begin investing in your side of your own abilities. It really does influence people around you because it's such an uncommon thing to do. You really are the exception, the 1% who is living an extraordinary, fulfilled life. Oh yeah, and investing in your own skills and knowledge base reveals ideas and opportunities you couldn't have known before existed. So I talked about this slightly before, but as my skill set has increased, as my net worth has increased, as my own understanding of economics and geopolitics and demographic change has really evolved, also psychology and behavioral finance, I have begun thinking and seeing opportunities that before I would have looked at and I wouldn't have even seen the opportunity there. Just because I didn't see it, I didn't have the knowledge base. It's okay that I didn't see it before, but because I have been focusing on myself, I see the world very differently than what other people do, and it has allowed me to create results much faster and much more profound than a lot of my contemporaries. Invest in your own skills. You can never go wrong investing in your own skills and investing in yourself. All right, number 6, stay broke. Cash is trash, so I personally keep enough around so that it's not a concern or a thought. Otherwise, all of my net worth is always deployed. So a big reason why I started this channel is because I am constantly looking for the best opportunities to deploy Phelps capital. I'm always wanting to deploy my money and have it in assets which are going to give me the highest return with the lowest risk. So this is my way of expressing it and presenting my research towards you. All right, cash flow and never cash. I'm going to have to get into how cash flow should be structured sometime, but cash is garbage. Cash is trash. It is completely useless until you spend it. And until then, it's just a number in a bank. It's based off of a belief system. So with that in mind, what do you buy with it? Okay, well, now that we know, we can agree with the premise that cash is garbage. Well, so what do you do with it? Well, you buy equity in businesses that produce cash in consistent, reliable, and predictive ways. So instead of having that cash sitting in your bank account, why not buy a company which is going to produce cash for you on a monthly or quarterly basis that produces your cash flow so that you can pay all of your bills, so that you can interact with society, and that you can have the lifestyle that you want to lead, and everything else can be tied up in assets which are not cash producing or which can expand in and of themselves and grow in and of themselves. Yeah, if you want to live an extraordinary life, it starts with thinking in larger opportunity vehicles. Equity is greater than cash. It really does change you when you see your net worth fluctuate by 20 to 30% a day. Your risk tolerance really changes. Understanding of economics really does change as well. It changes you as a person. The sooner that you can wrap your head around this and rip that band-aid off, the better you will be for it. All right, number 8, never lose money. Warren Buffett's number 1 rule for investing. It should be noted that Warren Buffett's number 2 rule for investing is remember rule number 1. Okay, so as long-term traders, we expect and embrace the ups, downs, and doldrums of the market, as there is money to be made in all circumstances. It is true that there's a certain type of personality who should not own stocks, as they become far too excitable and do something dumb during a red day. But as but investors who have a very long-term understanding of the world and who are picking our companies well, not just through stocks, but companies well, we don't really matter that much. In fact, we see the opportunity of a stock going down as the perfect time to buy a heck of a lot more. And as for any trade where you could possibly lose money, just say no. If there's a possibility of losing money in any trade, in any situation, I don't take it. There is always a possibility out there for you to deploy capital where it can increase. There's always going to be one. It's much better to take the sure option, wait an extra couple years, have your results for 100%, as opposed to trying to constantly buy lottery tickets and pray to the gods of luck. Or when in doubt, just hold. Yeah, if you have bought a good quality company, and if you bought a good quality stock, and if you are confident with your purchase, just hold it. Do fine. If you're not comfortable holding it for a long time period, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. All right, and finally, number 9. Apparently, I didn't have my PowerPoint right up. That's okay. Never quit until you achieve your goals. This is a common fallacy which is made for particularly in the sales world, where people will change their targets, something more easier to accomplish, or they'll set something that's really high and are trying to show off with it. Having realistic targets which you can accomplish and in a set amount of time is a very serious business. Target setting is a very serious undertaking. And remember that anytime you're setting a target and the last number is a 0, you have to start over. It's a lazy number. You didn't do enough calculations for it. You just picked a number out of your ass. You said 100,000, not a million, whatever. Oh, I'd love to do $1 million this year. You didn't do any math. You didn't do any calculation to reverse engineer where you could be in the future realistically and what you could accomplish and what your stretch goals could be. It must end in a different digit. So be careful when you're checking your targets or setting your targets, and never alter them. Once that number says your target is there permanently, it's a goal until it is accomplished and an achievement when it can complete it. It does not move. So the number that I set in my Excel sheet for my brokerage account to have a dividend income per year, it does not get changed. I update my improvement, or I should say my percentage towards it. However, targets never change. No, I will accomplish my target, or I will die trying. Keep changing the target, if you keep changing the goal, then of course you're not going to be able to succeed. Take your targets, take your goals very, very seriously, and apply yourself to them with the dedication and fervor of someone who truly believes in themselves, their own abilities, and that they can accomplish it. And you can't fail. You can't fail. So like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, I suppose. Thank you so much for listening so far. I'm enjoying making these quite a bit. And I hope that you have enjoyed watching it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Now I'll have I'm still working on my research notes. I will be publishing them this year. It's going to be my complete breakdown of everything that you need to know as an investor, going from beginner to experience. Here is the answer for the stock market. It's just solved. Here's everything you need to know. Or a number of people want to have a consultation. Whether you would like me to talk about a specific topic, you can email or a video response that I can make for you, or you can get my initial thoughts on something or get a deeper delve into it. Or if it is a deeper question or need like a one-on-one consultation, those are also available and are open for scheduling on my website. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It is the very first day of trading this year, and it's exciting. Last year, tech did extremely well. We'll see if it does as well this year, but it is an exciting time. There's a lot of coin to be made. Keep investing, and remember, right now, you're doing a great job, and I believe in you.